What's up? So today we're going to talk about merging the Orba with Ableton Live. So this is the Orba. It's made by a great company called Artiphon, and they have an Ableton Live template on their website because this has standalone sounds, and you can also use it as a Bluetooth MIDI trigger, which is what I'm doing. So I'm going to walk you through how I use their template and their Max for Live patch, and maybe you can mix and match from both their template and mine and use it for your own creative purposes. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing that is super cool about this is they set this up to be pretty fluid with channel changing. And so what I mean is when we're on the drum channel here, it's automatically going in to our drum track because it's channel 10. So in my tune, I just pretty much use kick and snare, and I used my Ableton Push to do clip recording. So, and whenever I want to go to a different instrument, I simply press the middle A button, and you can see now I'm on the bass channel. It's just configured right for you, so it makes it really easy. You can focus on your creativity. Here's our chords. And that way you can leave everything record armed like I have it, but you won't be recording on tracks unintentionally because we have discrepancies in MIDI channels. And there's my lead. Cool, so let's dig into the bass chord and the lead because the drums are pretty straightforward. It's just a drum rack. I'm mostly using kick and snare. Got a little bit of drum bus on there for some pop. But really the bass chord and the lead is where I get into the nitty-gritty. So let's check that out. Okay, so let's look at my bass sound. Here it is. First thing you might notice is one, that it's a major scale, and two, that it's monophonic, which means we only get one note at a time. That is great for bass lines because we do not want note overlaps. So as far as the sound that I set up here, this is an instance of wavetable. And we have a sub and a sawtooth wave. Then we got a little bit of filtering, a little bit of EQ, a little bit of compression. Nothing too crazy, right? So now what I want to do is go over here and open up our Max for Live utility patch. And the first thing I want to do is map the press parameter to the filter. So what the press is essentially aftertouch. So let's check this out. If I click on map and then I click on my filter, now, after I press the note, when I hold it down, my pressure can affect the frequency of that filter, okay? So, and I can use my min and max levels to determine the frequencies, min and max levels. So watch, I could change my min up higher and my max up here, and it would be bright most of the time. Yeah, and then I could make it dark with lower levels. So that's super cool. So the press parameter to the frequency of my filter section. Now what I want to do is I want to map tilt over here, which is essentially this movement. I want to map that to my wavetable position. So this is a two-part mapping. So let me open up macros. I click on macro mapping, click on my wavetable position, map that to macro 1. Okay, see that? Now it says oscillator 1 position. Now, let me get out of the macro mapping. If I go over here, I click on map for tilt. Now I can select oscillator position 1. So now check this out. So my movement will affect my wavetable position. So we can get some cool sound effects there. Cool sound design, sound effects, etc. So now I have a two-part movement happening here with my bass line. So the tilt affects my wavetable position, and my aftertouch affects my filter section. So that's my bass line. Okay, so let me rebuild my chord sound from the bottom up, and we can talk about it. So first of all, I'm in the chord menu here. Each one of these buttons represents a triad that is diatonically in the key of C. What that means is these chords are only using the notes in the C scale. So 1 is major, 2 and 3 are minor, 4 and 5 are major, 6 or 7 are minor, and 8 is the octave. And as you can see right here, I have this patch called Balloon Roads, dedicated after a Boards of Canada kind of sound. So then what I did is I created a second chain and added an operator, and it's tuned to 5th up. So now, let's listen to just the operator versus just the Rhodes. As you can tell, they're tuned differently. So the operator is a 5th up, so now we're getting into major and minor 9th chords. Everything's a lot thicker. Pretty cool, right? And then I go over here and I'm going to add the auto filter and give it a forward or positive moving envelope. And that gives us our little auto wah kind of sound. And then at the end I have a limiter because we need to practice safe sound design. Okay, so what I want to do here is I have this pitch drop, which is a Max for Live audio effect. It does that kind of thing. Pretty cool, right? So what if I want to map that to the tilt parameter now? So let's open this up. Let's click on tilt. And this is what I did in the demo song, by the way. And now we map it to drop, activate. So now, there we go. So I can tilt it in either direction. And if I do it quickly, it'll go on and off. Pretty cool. All right, so that is my chord sound. Okay, so now we have my lead, and this is an instance of sampler. I have a Boards of Canada kind of sound here. As you can tell, I really like that group. So, monophonic, much like our bass. One of the things that makes this patch stand out a little bit is what I'm doing with the frequency shifter here. Without it, it's cool, but the frequency shifter gives it a little bit of crunch and a little bit of pitch, wobble, LFO kind of action. And then of course the limiter at the end for safe sound design. So now what I want to do is let's go to our filter tab. And what I was thinking is I could map something to this filter so we can get this kind of thing. So couple options here. So let's open this up. The easy one would be to do tilt again. And we could either map this filter to a macro and then map tilt to that macro, or we can just map tilt right to this frequency. So if I do that, you see it's grayed out. That means it's mapped to tilt. So now I need to adjust my min and max levels to get that more musical. So how about we try 80 to 127. So that's option 1 of mapping our filter to tilt. Now let's check out option 2. Okay, option 2, what if I map radiate to filter? So radiate is this movement from here to here. So if I map that to my filter, how does that sound? Cool. Again, I could adjust my min and max levels here. How about we do 60 to 127? That way the filter doesn't go too dark. And maybe we set our max to 100. So how about 60 to 100? That's more usable in my opinion. Cool, so that's my lead sound. So it's an instance of sampler with a little bit of frequency shifter, and then we mapped radiate to our frequency cutoff inside sampler. So I hope you enjoyed. I will do some more Orba videos in the near future. Catch you next time. www.cloudchord.net.
Thanks for watching my dad's videos. His name's Derek and he makes music as Cloudchord, like his hat.
I'm also a guitarist and Ableton certified trainer. Every Tuesday I upload new videos, so if you learned something, be sure to
like and subscribe. And his hat is really cool.